start there and say experiences, information on kind of what's new with us first, maybe, and a little bit of like kind of
hear what's new at Excel.
Yeah, so we'll do that. I'll run you through a case study after. Obviously, ask questions at any point. So in the new world, there's a couple of things that are different. One of them is we're really pushing to bring more buildings on net, right? So we recognize that having a diverse fiber solution for a lot of buildings is a great story to tell, and it really lets us offer a better customer experience. The price points are better. We control it end to end, and it kind of lets people consume bandwidth the way they can consume all of the cloud service, right? It scales up and scales down versus a hard-coded Lex service that's difficult to kind of play with, right? So we raised $500 million to do that about 15 months ago. We have a list of about 10,000 buildings right now that we ran through an algorithm that said, it's X feet from our fiber today and it's Y square footage. Let's establish that building as something we want to target. And we built a threshold, or essentially a dollar value that we need to have revenue out of that building for us to light it. It can be type 2 takeout, it can be new services sold there. So if any of you guys are in markets that you'd like to pursue that, I can get you a list of what those buildings are, your market elsewhere. It's a pretty slick little tool you can play with and give you access to that. So that's one of the things that's new. I've been there almost 15 years. I spent most of the time on the direct side, and I think probably in those times we might have lit 200 buildings, and in that 15 months we're up almost over 750 right now. So it's gaining traction. It was rolled out on the direct side first, so it's somewhat new to the partner market. So it's just a message we want to make sure people heard, and if you're looking for something to do in that space, we'd like to help you out there.
Is it like a business park type building? I mean, a multi-tenant building?
It's multi-tenant for the most part, right? We're trying to avoid the single tenant because it's one person, right?
One check.
Yeah, so most of them are multi-tenant building. A lot of it's like Class A office space that, in a lot of cases, may already have a diverse provider there. So we can set you up with a tool that shows the buildings. It shows who's in the building already, right? So if there's 4 other diverse providers, it's probably not a great story. They've already heard it from somebody else before, but if they've never had access to anything but a LEC, it's a good story to tell, right? And then we've seen a lot of partners actually start to take that and kind of run that through their own database to say, hey, I have customers in this building, and as a way to maybe stop some of the bleeding on churn, you can go back out and offer them significantly greater bandwidth at the same price and kind of protect your revenue, right? So that's one of the things that's new. I think every day we continue to enhance our NNI for access, so non-fiber related build-outs, right? How do we service our customers better? We still have quite a big EOC footprint, but we're up to about 210 NNIs now, both domestically and overseas. So we've really strengthened ourselves in that footprint. And I guess the last piece of that access thing is we're actually about to announce that we're going to have like a broadband as an option, right? So like almost like a cable aggregation service. So we almost envision it as all of our MPLS customers have some type of DIA failover, and we're not involved in that part of it. And it seems like one of those things enough people have said, hey, I'd rather do this all through you guys. I have one billing platform for all of it. I have one place to call for all of it. It just simplifies that process, right? So we're going to get into that space as well. Do I think that we're going to want to sell individual single site? No, right? The answer is no. We want to use it as a way to like kind of be that backup provider, right? So that's one of the other things that's new. And the rest of it's more just investing into portals to help either partners or clients have more access, control, flexibility to what they do every day. So we've done big enhancements both on the partner platform and the customer platform as well. So if you guys want information on that, you can ping me, you can reach out to, I'm sure some of you have different sales managers from actually to deal with or whatever. And that's I guess the long and short of it. I don't know if there's questions on any of that.
How do you pick the buildings?
So they ran it through a tool, and essentially it basically said, if a building is a mile from our footprint, it's probably too far to build, right? So we're going to look at if it's 50 feet, that's great. If it's 500 feet, how many square feet is the building, right? So they kind of ran it through a system like that. And the further away it was, obviously, the higher the threshold.
So major cities more than anything else?
Yeah, most of it's in major cities where we already have metro network.
Okay.
So we have metro network in a lot of these facilities, but we never really lit individual buildings. That's like a new project for us, right? A lot of it was connecting data centers and LSOs and that type of thing.
What kind of cost benefit do you see offering circuits and lit buildings versus non-lit buildings, type 2, or you've got to build out to light it? So I come across an opportunity that's got a customer, the building's already lit. obviously it's more profitable for you guys, but as far as the customer, how much of a benefit do they get as far as on price?
It's massive, right? So, and I think that's the big reason that we're trying to do all of this stuff to kind of beef up that access story, because so much of what we all do in this space, it isn't driven by access costs, right? Like if you run a proposal on multi-site deals and kind of look at what the access component is, in a lot of cases it's 60 to 80% of the deal, right? So it's like if you can figure out how to skinny that down, it really changes the dynamics of it quite a bit, right? So in a lot of cases, like I use like a 100 meg internet circuit, right? That's probably running somewhere between $1,400 and $1,800 depending on where you are. If it's an on-net building for us, it's like $500, right? So it completely changes the game on that side. And what we see more often than not is people take a lot more bandwidth, right? And it's a different story, right? So if you actually can go through the process of saying, I got this MPLS network, and of the 20 sites, 10 of them are in EXO buildings or buildings that we're looking to light. I got a great story to tell because it spans the whole country versus individual pockets where one carrier might have a stronghold on access.
Inside a building, what's typically the capacity of the fiber you're bringing in? So, if all of a sudden you have some people want to buy a gig circuit or even a 10 gig circuit, is everybody else in the building now out of luck because the fiber's been all used up?
So the cookie cutter model that we're trying to do is to deploy 2 gig of service into the building to start. We can do anything else. Obviously the fiber's not the governing factor, it's the electronics on it, right? But in the process to try and make the engine behind the scenes work in a clean, efficient manner, they kind of said, hey, let's do that, and then if we want to look at 10 gig services, we have to kind of pull it aside and run a business case on it or whatever. Yeah, yep, but it's a pretty straightforward process or whatever. Yeah. So that's kind of one of the things that we're doing, and then the last piece on the case study that we didn't really talk too much about, right, is we just won an award for our enhanced toll-free platform. So like inbound 800, geo routing, time of day of week, that type of thing.
Will you do enhanced routing if it's a switched application?
We will. So we'll point to any 10-digit dialable number. Doesn't matter whether it's our number or not. Obviously, from a costing perspective, if it's switched, we're going to bill you for the second leg.
Sure.
Versus if it's on net, it's a free transfer from our platform back out.
Good to know.